The hidden cost of clean design. I think we watched a different one about clean architecture, but I don't think we watched this. Also, this is a very modern picture. Look at this. We have Calliope. Winamp in 2025. Actually based. Actually insanely based.
This is macOS, a beautiful and convenient operating system for work and creativity.
Where's all the color? Why are you using grayscale icons?
Why does the creative class love Apple devices so much? A consistent interface?
I would say because they're easy. You just buy a device and it works. You generally don't have to fiddle with anything. Everything's kind of just... It gets the software out of the way.
Speed, reliability, but that's not the main reason. Look at this. This is Apple Music, a typical Apple interface. Do you like it?
No. I hate it.
Well, it gives you the ability to listen to almost any track ever released. From a functional standpoint, it's magnificent.
Sure.
But now look at this.
Yeah, now that is a media player.
This is Winamp. You can also listen to music on it, but it has something more. There's a reason why almost 30 years after its release, even after several redesigns, this design is still remembered. These two interfaces don't just look different. They represent two fundamentally different worldviews. If you want to understand a generation, don't listen to what its witnesses say. Look at what it creates. This is Windows XP, as we remember.
Oh, man. This is my first experience using a computer.
It from 30 years ago. But beyond this nostalgic image, it was, by modern standards, a terribly unstable system. And its instability wasn't just about errors. You could accidentally break the system because its architecture allowed you to remove protection from system folders and delete files essential for its operation. And then there was the zoo of devices that required drivers which would break with every system update. By today's standards, the entire system was not just terribly designed, but all your work, all your data was under constant threat of being lost. Windows had a problem. It was the most popular operating system in the world. The user base was growing, new audience segments were emerging, and the computer was expected to perform more and more functions. Every major
It was changing from being a device to being an changing from being like a computing device to being an appliance. And that's the way people look at computers now. They don't care what it is underneath. For them, it is the computer. If something goes wrong, maybe they'll take it to a repair shop, but very likely they just buy a new computer. You don't have people replacing parts. You don't have people, even like basic things like RAM or drives. It is a microwave. It is an oven. It is a dishwasher. And even these things didn't used to be like as appliancey as they used to be. But I would say probably in the past 20 years, computers have been going down the appliance route. Liz Desert at the time was not really a thing. It was a horrible experience.
The so-called service packs try to include new software and new features, but Microsoft couldn't keep up with all the basic needs. For example, Internet Explorer couldn't figure out how to invent tabs, so everything had to be kept in separate windows. And
I didn't even realize it didn't have tabs back then. What the fuck?
for a long time, Windows Media Player lacked the basic function of a media library. So what did users do? They looked for alternatives. Someone had to solve these problems, and in the case of music, it was Justin Frankel, an American programmer from Arizona, and Dmitry Boldyrev, a Russian developer who created the first version of Winamp in 1997. Just two developers, yet many features we now take for granted were established back then. Drag and drop playlists, an equalizer, visualizations, a modular architecture. And importantly, Frankel himself designed the interface. Frankel was earning tens of thousands of dollars a month. But how if Winamp was free? A modest donate $10 button. And despite the relatively small user population at the time, thousands of users clicked and donated because it was, by a huge margin, the best way to listen to music.
Well, this is also why Chrome got adopted so quickly as well. Chrome had a lot of things that IE just didn't have at the time. And, well, it also helps that they were advertising it. Oh, the best experience with Google is on Chrome. Like, that obviously helped as well. But IE being how bad IE was. The problem with IE, though, is because it had such dominance beforehand, there were a lot of sites, a lot of government websites that specifically required some of the broken implementations that IE had. Like, there were sites that specifically only worked in that browser because Microsoft went way off standard.
On a PC. We've already listed the landmark features that set it apart from the system player and others. But any software is not just about features, it's also about the interaction with them. The llama jingle, the famous funny sound at the program's launch.
Winamp. It really whips the llama's ass.
And Justin Frankel named his company Nullsoft, an ironic jab at Microsoft. These kinds of deeply personal details were everywhere. They weren't necessary at all, but Justin was making something he wanted to use himself. Something that wasn't good by objective metrics, but was cool and fun to him with his own unique authorial vision.
Yeah, that's the thing. Maybe something else was better, but also, well, firstly, Winamp was actually better than a lot of things at the time, but it had substance. It wasn't just a media player. It was something that you could feel the designer's intentions with, the designer's soul in it. It wasn't just something that was like made to feel like a corporate Trello board. It was, hey, I want to make this because this is something that I want myself. It had the add-on psychedelic. Yeah, you gotta love visualize. I kind of wish those came back more as a thing.
And this permeated everything, from the features that seemed convenient to the design that mimicked real buttons, all in a bright color scheme that he found pleasing. This interface doesn't look modern to us. Why? Because it has character and style. The modern approach offers a clear narrative. The best interface is the one you don't notice. We don't associate character with functionality.
Yeah, which also leads to problems where none of these are buttons. Like, you know they are buttons because you've clicked on them and you've, like, worked out they are buttons. But none of these are styled as buttons. And this is a problem that permeates a lot of modern design. There is, I've tried to use applications in the past, and I have to, like, click around to try to find what is interactable, because there is nothing clearly, like, and GNOME goes down this route as well. I really fucking hate it. Nothing is clearly a button here. Now, what I know, all of these are buttons. This is a button. This review thing is a button, but there is nothing about this interface that tells you what it is.
The best interface is the one you don't notice. We don't associate character with functionality. For us, the opposite is true. And this is the main difference between us and the geek designers of the mid-90s. They saw no...
Yes, that is actually a good point. The people designing software in the 90s were software developers. The people designing software now are designers who've only ever witnessed modern design. Modern design is, like, I've said this before. People have argued, like, oh, well, obviously modern design is good. Look at how many designers they have. But consider what they have as contemporary design examples. Just because someone has a degree in design doesn't mean they know how to make a good design. They might know how to fill out UX metrics. They might know how to make something like optimize, view time and optimize click-through rate. But that doesn't mean they know how to make a good interface. looks different. Yeah, it looks different from functionality. And then we get into the problem again, like I was saying before, where you have buttons where they are not clearly buttons.
Contradiction between startling functionality, usability, and their own character. They even saw benefits in it, and for good reason. Take the design of Windows XP. It replaced the outdated Windows 98 and was completely new at the time, but the trend was towards more character, not minimalism. Yet in terms of usability, XP was far ahead of 98, as it was in technical specs. And
then you go into Vista, and I actually think that's what changed their course. When they released Vista, Vista's not bad. The main problem that Vista had is they overestimated the kinds of systems people would have by the time that Vista came out. Because if you had, I think, like 8 gigs of RAM, which basically no one did, but if you had 8 gigs of RAM back on Vista, Vista was perfectly fine. But a lot of people were running like 1, 2, maybe 4 gigs. And in that case, Vista was fucking cooked. Windows ME was very good for gaming, but you had to know what to do comparing to 98 and 2K. Right, I see.
to this day, it looks unique and is recognizable from a distance by its very distinctive elements. All technologies emerge as innovations, but over time they
Mate, charge your fucking phone.
become familiar and invisibly natural. But true character and uniqueness, even as generations of technology pass, can never become obsolete. It is definitionally timeless. Winamp and XP have left our lives, but even 30 years later, users create simulators and
Well,
to, at the very least, bring back the external attributes of that time. And I dare say enjoy these unique design solutions. And this philosophy penetrated even the most conservative, most corporate corners of the digital world. How should software for documents look? Probably serious, without distractions.
again, what is a button here? If you were not aware of modern interface design, what are buttons? This is a button. This is clearly a button. These are clearly buttons. This is a button. This is a button. Maybe you might think, like, the arrow is a button. Maybe. But you only know that these are buttons because you know these are buttons. Because you've played with the software and are aware of what a button in a modern application is. But nothing here besides, like, the ones that are colored. This is why I really hate people who say, oh, KDE has, like, too much, like, borders between stuff. Yeah, it should, because that's how you indicate what is a button.
But this is an assistant, a living paperclip with eyes. Clippy. Why?
Because
He wasn't just given the function of an assistant. He was given a personality, an annoying, intrusive one, but
Yeah.
a personality nonetheless. Because
Bring
the
back
creators
Clippy.
believed that working with a soulless document could be a little more human. They tried to build a friend inside the most boring program on earth. They failed in terms of usability, but they succeeded in creating something unforgettable, and that captures the entire spirit of that era. Let's look at these few interfaces. These are far more functional voice assistant spirit of that era. Let's look at
I would debate on the functional for this, because I can barely read this text. What a fucking mess this is. What, like... all of this just kind of blends in.
these few interfaces. These are far more functional voice assistants with artificial intelligence.
Okay, sure, the voice assistant, yeah, okay, I'll give you.
They are infinitely more useful, but they are also infinitely more boring. And this isn't just visual, they are, by their very nature, incredibly bland. It's part of their protocol to be neutrally supportive. Minimalism and functionalism extend to the very character of what we can call intelligence. These are interfaces and designs created by different cultures. At least cultures with with fundamentally different value-based approaches to
Voice assistant
design.
equals
Will
blob.
this
Yeah, I
ChatGPT
agree.
interface be remembered in the same way we remember Clippy? Only as a visual backdrop in a conversation about a breakthrough technology. These interfaces are simple, and simple is a crucial word for us now. Simple to learn, predictable interfaces, like LLM chats. I think this says more about the modern approach to design than anything else, more than the simplified settings menu in macOS 26 or the identical messaging apps. AI is an incredible technology that has already transformed our experience with information, a technology that gives us hope we haven't seen since the invention of electricity. But is that optimism visible in these interfaces? We see them literally everywhere every day, but they have no character. They simply don't have the task of conveying that optimism, of having their own vibrancy. And what's worse, they have the opposite task, to be completely invisible and simple. Now, of course, we understand.
You can't even change the refresh rate and scale. You can't change the scaling? Sorry, you can't change the scaling. Wait, so what if your eyesight's bad? Do you have to just use a magnifier? There's no, that can't be right. Surely not. Lower the resolution of your display. That can't be right. That's insane.
And that adding character to a design can come at the cost of broad audience reach. And reach, adoption, and loyalty are direct predictors of revenue. And that's probably normal. But look at these examples. A single thread runs through...
Let me give you another example. Bonzi buddy. I wanted an excuse to show Bonzi buddy.
them all, an attempt to make it human. Sometimes more corporately, reaching out to the user with friendliness, sometimes through an authorial approach, but everywhere there is a desire to
wait, I'm sorry. We're gonna examine this dog again.
runs through them all, an attempt to make it human. Sometimes more corporately, reaching out to the user with
So is this implying that its skin is a suit? Oh, and it's true. macOS scaling philosophy. Apple aims for consistent physical element size across display. Not always perfect. Pixel scaling. Sometimes rendering content blur if the monitor isn't a perfect pixel doubling match, like Apple's own. Okay, that's a design choice.
friendliness, sometimes through an authorial approach, but everywhere there is a desire to make it individual and to evoke an emotion. They could have simply not done it, but the geek creators did. Yes, maybe you don't find it beautiful, but it is interesting, unique, not boring. And that in itself says an awful lot. Look at the websites, services, and applications we use. You are not just looking at visuals, you are looking at manifestations of different perceptions of the world, different beliefs and faiths, beliefs about who we are and how we should think, perceive, and exist. All the modern, convenient, minimalist interfaces with identical elements built on identical design systems, this is the belief that function must lead form, that the best interface is no interface, that we have made a huge leap forward by understanding affordance and learning to apply it everywhere. And that we are so clever for being able to cut away everything superfluous and unnecessary, maintaining maximum simplicity and universality. If you try to boil it all down to one thing, what do you think happened? I'm sure you thought about functionalism and the growth of the industry, maybe about corporations and the data-driven approach, or about the importance of technology and features, since we're talking about the design of features in the tech sphere. The truth is, Microsoft was already a mega corporation in the early 2000s, but it made the Luna design for Windows XP. And
Again, it's people
a mega
that were
corporation in the early 2000s, but it
like, this is an interface that was designed for people. Modern design is an interface that is designed for metrics. It is like, this is not the most optimal design, but it is pleasant to look at. When you design based on click-through rate and metrics, you will design something far more optimal. But when that's your focus, you're going to lose a lot of character.
made the Luna design for Windows XP. And the corporation AOL bought Winamp because it was a truly valuable asset. I'll go even further. Duolingo, with its awful owl and annoying green color, that's also a corporation. Yet it's a modern and vibrant brand with a character that, while obnoxious, is still a character. No, we clearly see that people are still drawn to personalities, to uniqueness. How much easier it is to promote products through a personal brand than to promote the brand itself, especially if it's minimalist and safe. There is nothing in the world of money or in the world of technology that makes it impossible for the interface of ChatGPT, Notion, or Apple Music to have its own character. We can make vibrant and unique designs. The main...
Well, even YouTube used to be like this, right? Like, YouTube back in, do you remember when YouTube had, like, custom channel backgrounds? I've shown this before. Like, early YouTube, where you could do stuff like this. Where you could make your channel page. This is something that just would never exist now. But it let people really, like, define how they wanted to present their own content. And it's so sad that, like, yeah, modern YouTube is designed to get you to click on metrics, get you to click on things, get you to engage with the content, but it's lost that charm. Like, even the player, this is a totally functional player, but all of the design charm is gone from what it used to be back then.
Accept fact is that the key change that brought us to where we are is that we, as a society, no longer need it. We have different priorities. But it's important to remember that another path exists. All the interfaces around us very clearly and coherently broadcast. We are more efficient, more technological, better and simpler. But at the same time, terribly boring and devoid of individuality. It's great and interesting to look at old software made in the era before the religion of minimalism and functionalism was established. The problem is that time has passed, and using most of these technologies is simply inconvenient. Why did this particular religion become the common ground for everyone? Is Apple solely to blame? And how is this similar to the story of the invention of standardized shipping containers? We talk about that in another video. You can watch it by clicking the link. There you will understand that I'm not saying it was good then and bad now.
Wait, that's a bit of a segue.
Not trying to contrast the approaches. I'm simply showing examples that prove that design is not just how something looks. It's about which world we choose to believe in.
I think one of the valid reasons to do away with customization is that you just tend to make web pages fucked up, but okay, there is a legitimate reason to do it. Let me see if I can, I think it's in my main channel suggestions, actually. Click jacking. Where is it? Where's the thing? Like, there are legitimate reasons to not let people just do random stuff on the web. Because you can do some things that you shouldn't be able to do. Like, this is all made with CSS and SVGs. Let me show you another example, actually. Where is it? No, this one I want to jump to. Welcome to CSS Clicker. Your goal is to build a website and level it up, blah, blah, blah. This game is written entirely in HTML and CSS. No JavaScript or server-side code is used. It's a fuck you to people claiming HTML and CSS aren't programming languages. Now, just... It is an actual clicker game. I'm going to, where's the setting? I'm going to turn the music off. Mute the audio. There we go. Thank you. This is an actual clicker game. Built... Oh. It's not going to change it because of Linux stuff. Built entirely CSS, HTML. I was seriously talking about users who design their profiles in really dumb ways, making certain things hard to see or harder. No, that makes sense as well. That also makes sense. But like, there are so many reasons to not let people write custom CSS. I just want to get to 1,000, and then we'll go off of this. And I want my gaming mouse. Now it doesn't save your settings, obviously. But yeah, full on game, and this mess here, which is SVG and CSS. Yeah.